ignored her or didn't hear her, caught up in the madness of the ball. For a moment she had the distinct impression his mind was far away from the ballroom crush. He looked past them all, lost in his own meandering thoughts. But this man and his thoughts were not her concern. Be he inebriated, enthralled, or distracted, unfortunately he was still on her skirts. "Sir!" She raised her voice, trying not to call too much attention to herself, for she was ashamed she'd deigned to attend the notorious party in the first place. He remained oblivious. Perhaps he suffered from a hearing problem. Oh dear, she had no choice if she wanted to save her train from further damage. Maggie reached out and laid a tentative hand on his arm. "Sir!" He gave a start and turned the force of that startling, mossy gaze on her. "Madam?" His arm was surprisingly well muscled, his coat warm with the heat of his large body. She withdrew her touch with haste, as if he were a pot too long on the stove that she'd inadvertently touched with her bare hand. He still didn't realize he'd trampled her gorgeous evening gown. It took her a breath to regain her composure under the force of those piercing eyes. "Sir," she began hesitantly, "I'm afraid you're standing upon my train, if you'd be so kind." "Oh, damn it to hell," he muttered, startling her with his blunt language. His penetrating stare dropped to the floor, and he quickly removed the offending shoes. "Oh, Christ! It's ripped to bits, isn't it?" She cast a dreary eye over the effects of his feet. "I expect it will require some correction, yes." Correction was rather an understatement. Her silk train, complete with box-pleated ribbon trim and a lace and jet overlay, was badly torn. She wasn't certain a seamstress's hand could make repairs without them being obvious to the eye. It wasn't as if she couldn't afford a new gown, but this had been her first occasion wearing it, and it had been unbearably lovely. "I'm truly sorry." His voice sounded cross, drawing her attention back up to his frowning mouth. "If you'll allow it, I'll be happy to have it repaired for you." His mouth was especially fine, she noted again, contrary to her better judgment, firm yet sculpted. He had a generous mouth. Kissable. Dear heaven, what was she about? Swooning over an unknown man's lips? Hadn't she just decided she was too craven to create the sort of scandal she'd require? She swallowed, forcing herself to recall what he'd just said. "I appreciate your offer, sir, but I have a wonderful seamstress." She thought of the dressmaker she used in London when in a pinch. Likely the entire train would require replacing. "But the fault is mine." He played the gentleman now that she'd finally gained his attention. Nonsense! Perhaps her womanly horror at the damage to her gown was foolish. It had not been intentionally done, after all, and she had more than enough coin for Madame Laurier's alterations. Of all things that need mending, mere fabric is by far the easiest and least costly. He tilted his head, considering her with a fathomless stare that made her skin tingle to life with a dizzying warmth. "I sincerely doubt truer words were ever spoken." There was an intensity underlying his words that made her believe he was sincere and not merely another rake plying meaningless flattery. For the first time since stepping into the whirlwind of the ballroom, Maggie was intrigued. "What have you that needs mending, sir?" A new sense of boldness coursed through her. His lips quirked into a wry smile beneath his mask. "Would you believe it's my heart?" So he loved another, then. She tried to ignore the stab of disappointment the revelation sent through her.